Sumimasen. I'm like, what the hell? Right. I look over and there's this guy like full on like chasing after me. And I'm like, oh my God, there's someone chasing me. So I'm pedaling
You're
faster.
going faster,
And
yeah.
right. Like, oh my God, like, what is this person going to do? And so I finally was like, okay, well, maybe I should stop because this guy is really determined to get me.
Welcome to the Pillars of Creation. I'm your host, Mitchel Dane. Today I welcome a true Renaissance man, the one and only Aaron Spacefood. A musician, a mentor, part-time pizza promoter, and overall paragon of creativity. But most recently he has become a leader and innovator in the field of finger drumming, motivating him to write and publish the acclaimed guidebook, The Finger Drum Bible, and its follow-up, The Finger Drum Genesis. But never one to allow his creativity to stagnate, he likes to keep it fresh. From DJing at music festivals to helping intergalactic creatures explore the frontiers of electronic music, but more on that later. As an ambassador of the arts, Aaron has been across all of Canada, and most recently traveled to Japan for his upcoming series, Remix Tokyo on YouTube. So from west to east, from our galaxy and beyond, today we'll find out just what goes into his out-of-this-world recipe. Welcome, Aaron. How you doing?
Good. Glad to be here. Super glad you invited me onto your show, and pumped to talk to you and talk at all of your wonderful pillarpod listeners.
There we go. Yeah, I mean it's exciting for me because we've been friends for a really long time, and we probably haven't talked for years. So it's kind of
Yep.
it's a catch up process. It's to use this podcast as an excuse to catch up in a way.
Heck yeah. We'll have lots to talk about.
So I am obviously aware of your journey to where you've gotten today. But some of my listeners may not be, and I went into some of that briefly in the introduction. But can you kind of describe your musical journey to how you've come to today as, as the artist and creator that you are now?
I'll do my best because I don't feel like it's a very traditional path. It's certainly
Sure.
not a straight path.
Right.
And I think my priorities are maybe a little bit different from or I should say, my vision of success might not be the same as most people in the music industry.
Hmm.
Maybe not. We'll see. But long ago, I was born, and
It
then
all started, yeah. Yeah.
it all
That's
started.
exactly, yeah, yeah.
Um, right mixture of gravity
Yeah.
and solar radiation that made
That's what, yeah, I knew it. I knew, yeah, it must have been a solar flare.
Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
But I come from a fairly musical family. Like my
Hmm.
dad plays drums. My older brother just like slays on the drums,
Hmm.
and I kind of grew up learning piano. But I quickly found that I just wanted to create music beyond just the one voice. I wanted
Mm.
to have drums and bass and an entire production. And I think also I am just like a bit of an introvert, or at least I was definitely introverted maybe when I was young, or maybe I was just self conscious about my inability to actually make music when I was younger. But I had just such a strong passion for it that when I learned that I could make music with my computer, and basically just kind of hunker down in my
Hmm.
room making
Laboratory.
music.
Yeah.
Exactly, without any
Hmm.
judgment from others or,
Hmm.
hard lessons learned or whatever, then I don't know, it felt like a really good opportunity for me to explore music and try different things out. And so I experimented using GarageBand for a really long time,
Hmm.
got fairly good at editing and sequencing MIDI. And I think probably one of the biggest turning points for me in my decision to pursue music as a profession was when I went to Japan 15 years ago.
Mm.
Man, yeah, 15 or 16 years ago. It was basically like, I don't know what I really want to do with my life, but I know I have I had a really great time when I did an exchange in Japan in high school.
Hmm.
And you know what? I think I just want to go to Japan, teach English in Japan for a year, and then I would spend that year working on my first album just on my MacBook when they were white and plastic.
Right.
So yeah, I worked on this album. It was, rudimentary, but you know what? I followed it through all the way
Mm-hmm.
to the end. I
Right.
got
Mm-hmm.
the songs done. There were a few songs in there that I really liked, and I
Mm-hmm.
even integrated vocals, which was, a big step. I
Yes.
annoyed everybody in my share house
Mm-hmm.
because the walls were paper thin.
Mm-hmm. Maybe even made of paper in Japan.
Pretty much. Yeah, they were very, very thin walls, and, like, here I am with my headphones on, just, like, probably singing out of key, planning on throwing it through the auto tune function in GarageBand, and
Auto
so
tune, take the wheel, and you're just belting it out late at the night. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
WWATD.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
right?
And that was the album The Night of Sevens, your first fully produced album.
Exactly. Yeah, you could call it fully produced. Of course,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of things I would change.
Right.
It's a little bit
Yeah.
embarrassing to listen to, but I think every artist has that,
Oh
so
yeah. Oh
but
yeah. Yeah, and some people stop right after that. So so you
yeah,
kept going,
exactly. It's
which
like,
is
"This
good.
isn't for
So
me."
yeah, yeah,
I'm
exactly.
like,
Yeah.
I gotta get better at this, but maybe I
Mhm.
won't do the same type of music, or I don't
Mhm.
know. Actually, I
Yeah.
love the process so much that when I got back from Japan, I, got support from my parents to go to Metalworks Institute in Toronto for audio
Right.
engineering and music production.
Mhm.
I just knew, like I knew that I didn't know much.
Right.
I knew that there was just this whole world that I was afraid to step into because I didn't even speak the language, right? And
Mm.
um, and so when I learned that I could be, some sort of a professional music guy,
Mhm.
without having to be an expert on guitar or an expert on piano,
Right.
um, I could just appreciate music and be a part of making the music that I'm recording or mastering sound the
Mhm.
best it can be.
Mhm.
I was, right on board with that. So I feel like I just rocked the each of the classes,
Mhm.
which I think actually for anyone who's interested in going to an audio engineering school, I recommend focusing your energy on getting good grades, but also put equal energy into networking with as many people as you
Mm.
possibly
Right.
can.
Yeah.
Because I would say that's one of my biggest regrets was I was so focused on just like getting the best grades and just soaking up all that
Mm.
information that I made a few good friends there, but I probably could have done a better job at making better networks with these people and
Mhm.
being more involved with
Right.
them.
It's not what you know, it's who you know sometimes. So
A
that's the
hundred
forgotten skill.
percent.
Yeah.
Exactly, right?
Mhm.
Because like, I found out later that, one of the guys I went to school with, became Drake's, engineer,
Oh, really?
um,
Wow.
and like anyway, people are like
Little known
they're doing it.
artist. Yeah.
Exactly, right?
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
you never know who you're gonna meet when you're speaking with people, and,
Mhm.
I feel like the human component of your music career is the most important part, you
Right.
know?
So yeah, so you finished up at Metalworks, you got your diploma, and from there you went on to doing all types of production. Tell me about the path outside of Metalworks. What was the first step from there?
At that point, I was kind of making a decision about, what sort of lifestyle I want.
Mm.
I had an opportunity to work at one of the studios in Toronto. I was offered a job after I graduated, but my family is on this side of Canada. At that point, I was kindling a relationship with my now wife, and I decided that in my music career, if I could, I wanted to be location independent.
Mm.
But of course, I didn't know how to do that. At that time, I think it was kind of unheard of,
Mm.
because this was quite a while ago, like
Mhm.
12, 13 years ago or something like
Mhm.
that. I'm not trading stocks or something on the internet. So
Right.
like
Yeah.
doing music remotely, it's like, what?
Mhm.
Um,
Well,
so I
especially
think that
having
probably
given the history of your education. where everyone is going, oh, I'm going to go work at this studio. I want to go work at this studio. I have to go to Nashville. I have to go to Toronto. I have to go to Vancouver, where they're, like you said, location based. It is interesting to be like, well, I'm going to go to the mountains of, BC, or I'm going to go to the far north, and I will just sit with my computer and drink coffee in the sun and find a way to make a living off music, which is like anyone can make music anywhere. But even then, thinking about it as a career is definitely a bold choice.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
totally. It's a struggle though. Like,
Mm-hmm. Oh, of
of course,
course.
pros and cons with
Mm-hmm.
everything, and like every year though, pursuing this sort of dream of the perfect lifestyle,
Mm-hmm.
I've been getting incrementally closer to achieving that.
Right.
And I think that just comes with experience, kind of knowing, being able to more clearly define my revenue sources. Where am I the most useful? Where can I, what can I do that, um, where I'm doing a great job and I'm doing it quick enough that I don't get bored, but it also is paying enough to make my time worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when acting as sort of a freelancer, doing this kind of thing. Sometimes you'll get a ton of work, and then
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's just a desert.
Yeah. Feast or famine.
And so, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So just kind of juggling that. Yeah, it's been interesting, but I do feel like today, this year, I'm the closest to my goal that I've ever been.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like, and yeah, I suppose a part of that too, though, is that I moved around a lot when I was, going to school, going
Mm-hmm.
to Japan, going up to Terrace. We lived in Victoria. We moved to Alberta, moved back to Victoria. Then we moved to Nelson, and
Right.
now in Nelson, I feel like I'm starting to really plug into the community here. I
Right.
guess this is circling back to the human component, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
meeting people, knowing people, having relationships with people.
Yeah. Putting down
And
some
yeah,
roots.
building these friendships, putting down some roots, it really
Mm-hmm.
helps
Mm-hmm.
the process. Otherwise, it seems like every chance you take on getting some sort of a project is a cold call.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And the variety is nice too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, since I do quite a wide range of audio and music related tasks,
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like I'm just kind of over focusing in one area. Like, maybe I'll do a couple ghostwriting projects where I'm remixing a song for somebody, or
Mm-hmm.
just making something new for them. And then once that project is done, I can switch to doing some voice acting for a while,
Mm-hmm.
um, you know, or mixing and mastering, or since I'm working on my books. I'm enjoying the in between times as well, because then I can
Mm-hmm.
dive into writing these books, and even though it's not an immediate payoff,
Mm-hmm.
I know that these resources are going to be really useful for my students and
Right.
other people in the world that maybe just need this
Mm-hmm.
specific type of information.
Right. So you bring up your books, which is like a good segue because you have embarked on this finger drum journey. What brought you to finger drumming? What because you started out as a pianist and quite a good one.
Oh,
So
thanks, man.
yeah, you're welcome. It's but it does bring up. Obviously, you've used skills with from your piano playing. Your multi finger separation. So you've obviously always been musical. You've had that piano background. When did it happen that you went from, say, sequencing a drum beat to performing it live, which is effectively what finger drumming is, right?
Doing the finger drum Bible initially was something that I just wanted to make for myself, because I wanted to learn. I'm definitely a student of finger drumming. Like, there are just so many amazing artists out there that can finger drum way better than me. So
Mm,
I like to say that I'm a student of finger drumming and a lifelong pursuer of musical expression. And I was booked to play a show called the Caslow Summer Series a couple years ago, and I wanted to do a kind of a generative electronic performance where I integrate finger drumming,
Mm-hmm.
but I have a really bad memory.
All right.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
just have a bad memory,
Mm-hmm.
and so I'm like, there's got to be a way where I can like notate,
Right.
notate my performance that I'm preparing without having to do traditional music notation. Because,
Mm-hmm.
I've only done a little bit of that. Like usually when I'm producing music, I'm dealing with MIDI notes and things like that,
Sure.
and so I scoured the internet to see if I could find anything like I was visualizing, and there was nothing around yet. There was, I think, one online application that you could pay a subscription for, but it wasn't really what I was looking for, and so it dawned on me that I should just probably make it. So
Right. Those are available now on Amazon, I believe.
you bet. Yeah, the Finger Drum Bible and the Finger Drum Genesis are both available on Amazon, but the Finger Drum Genesis has extended distribution to everywhere in the world. But I kind of wish I named it the Finger Drum Bible Volume Zero, to be honest, because I
Oh.
think the difference in naming from a marketing and brand recognition perspective maybe
Oh, I
was a bit
see.
confusing for people. Like if you look at the Finger Drum Bible and the Finger Drum Genesis next to one another, the Finger Drum Bible definitely looks more impressive because it's a pretty bold statement calling something the Bible,
Right. Yeah. No, that is true.
which has caused me problems advertising in China, actually. Kind of a weird
Oh,
thing.
interesting.
They don't
Interesting.
allow
Right, because
advertising for
it's
anything that sounds biblical.
right. Yeah, because
And
it's like
yeah,
proselytizing some external religious figure or whatever.
exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can't ship
Mm.
to China. Oh yeah, I can't ship to China. Someone told me that, and then advertising with Google. Actually, it wasn't even advertising in China. It was advertising with Google. They're like,
Oh.
no, bro, it's you can't advertise the Bible. So
Mm. Well, your next book
um,
will have to be the People's Book of finger drumming.
yeah,
So
exactly.
take
Just a
that, you
sec. Let
know.
me write that
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
down.
I'll only take a small royalty. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So
Actually, kind of a interesting story. The first time I ever got my hands on a copy of Ableton Live was when I purchased a Korg pad controller. It was a 16 pad controller. I still have it actually.
mhm.
And I was like, this is awesome. I have no idea what it does, but I want to learn how to do that.
Yeah.
I had no idea, but it's like I was aware of the concept of it. So I feel like that maybe acted as a bit of a seed for the idea, just sort of to
Mhm.
grow that passion. But then
Right.
once I started really diving into programming and sequencing electronic music and doing sound design and things like that, I felt like I just wanted to try to bring a little bit more of the human element into the
Right.
music.
I would wonder if that would be kind of the nature of your piano background to be like, well, no, there is breath and life in a piano performance that makes it special.
100%.
Mhm.
Yeah. And not only just for performing it, but even just when I'm in the studio recording something and I want something to sound a little bit more human, a bit
Mhm.
imperfect.
Mhm.
It's nice to be able to use the pads because there's just so much nuance in the velocity that I'm hitting the pads.
Mhm.
It'll pick up all of that, all the little micro delays, and sometimes it's hard to just like be shifting an eighth note around to see if you can find that perfect
Yeah. That's
swing.
that
But if you can
magic.
just
Yeah.
exactly right,
Mhm.
because like in the pocket it can be the difference between just like 25 milliseconds, right?
Mm. Mhm.
And so yeah, having that also. I DJ'd for a while. I've DJ'd at a few different festivals and things like that, and I love DJing. It's great, but also there isn't a lot that's happening on stage. You're
Mm.
queuing up the next track. You're playing a game of chess on your phone.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
queuing up a
Yeah, you're
track,
doing the
you're
Zen
twiddling
garden. You
around.
got folding laundry. Yeah. I've seen the
Right,
memes. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love those
Yeah.
memes.
Those are so
But,
great.
there
Yeah.
isn't, like, a whole lot that's happening, like, it doesn't
Right.
seem like a musical
Mm-hmm.
performance. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it is, there's a lot of skill, of course, I don't wanna discredit,
Yeah.
the skill that's required to do a good and
Mm-hmm.
engaging DJ set, but for me, I wanted something that could be more, sort of just bridging the gap between sterile electronic music. I don't wanna call it sterile, but, just
Mm-hmm.
perfect electronic
Right.
music
Unnatural
and
or yeah.
exactly, and the
Mm-hmm.
organic, sort of meter and feel of,
Mm-hmm.
a human playing. Like, I think
Mm-hmm.
now, especially with the introduction of AI music generation software, and
Right.
everything is just getting so easy. It's gotten so in the box,
Right.
that and I think that there's the AI music generators. So I feel like music, unfortunately, is going to be a dime a dozen. It's already sort of starting to be that
Mm-hmm.
way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Unfortunately.
Yeah.
And so the one thing that you can't take away from people, and the one thing that people are always going to enjoy is seeing a human performing music.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point because there is the out of sight, out of mind that people can excuse the lack of humanity when they go, oh well, it's just easy because I can just go into the app and type chill piano music and Mr. Robot is going to play me the greatest set list ever that never had a human being involved in it except for me when I typed in the search bar what I wanted. So I think people, if you asked a lot of people what they preferred, a human playing a piano or a computer playing a piano, I think 100% of people would say, oh, a human, of course. But they would be very quick
Totally.
to take advantage of the AI piano player, thus erasing the human who spent, you know, 30 years playing piano to get to that place. So it is
Yep.
interesting to look at music now, or art in general, through the kind of like this wave of technology that, for all its advances and its conveniences that it brings us, there is that terrifying um, the end is nigh, um, uh, wall of fire that seems to be coming up, which is burning down the forest of creativity. If I can be pretentious
Yep.
for a second, so is
No, it's true.
it is. I mean, I have this conversation more and more with more of the creatives that I talk with, and that is just the idea that it's almost like people won't miss it until it's gone. But once it's gone, it's gone. At least in the sense
Yeah.
of it being a viable path for someone to make a living at it or to be like an artist 100% of the time. It's like that meme that says, I thought AI would do my laundry and my dishes while I made art. I didn't think that the AI would be making art while I was doing laundry and dishes. And that's a tragedy that that's we got to say something about it now, right? Before it's
Yeah.
too late.
Totally.
Hmm.
It's true. And why, like, I mean, I guess I can kind of see why creative things would be sort of chosen first, like kind of the
Hmm.
first targets, because I think maybe cognitive function has a lot to do with imagination.
Good point.
Um,
Interesting point.
and then, of course, now that we have this ability to reason using an AI and
Hmm.
problem solve, now you're seeing it more and more being integrated in the robotics sector that's slowly catching up.
Hmm.
But unfortunately, I think the damage has been done in a way,
Hmm.
as far as just the impact that having AI music generators is already having on the industry. And just because we don't
Hmm.
have policies yet to protect
Right.
musicians,
Hmm. Yeah.
against this, excuse me, against this sort of AI competition.
Revolution. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, sometimes, yeah, you don't want to give in to despair. I'll always, fight for the human side of music and art in general. I don't want to read a book that was written by a robot. I don't. I don't want to
No,
do it. I refuse to do it. I would be
no.
disturbed if I read one and enjoyed it and found out it was because it just fundamentally goes against everything I believe in. But sometimes I do feel like I'm supporting the horse-drawn carriage. You know what I mean? And meanwhile,
Mm.
the internal combustion engine has been invented. I'm sitting here going, no, we need an organic creature pulling ourselves around. Those go too fast. It's unnatural. And
Right.
meanwhile, it's such a pointless effort. It's futile to even begin that argument, especially now, right? Like people would laugh at you if that wasn't a joke. But I know that happened, right? There was
Oh,
someone who
yeah.
said, "No, the buggy." Like, what are you talking about? Like, this is, what am I going to do with my
Oh,
horses,
yeah.
right?
Man, you know what? Like, I mean, it reminds me of my parents' view on cable television,
Mm,
or like video games when video
mm,
games started becoming popular.
mm,
It was like they're gonna rot your brain, blah 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 blah
mm.
blah. But now there are so many studies saying, like, actually, if you're playing video games, you're problem solving all the time, and your problem
Yeah.
solving skills are,
Hmm.
But I guess
Yeah.
everything in moderation, really.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where talk about it all you want. I think it does come down to the consumer and what they value. The role does come up to them to say, like, what will you stand for? Do you stand for the artist who's the human, or do you want the convenience of the AI generated music app that's going to give you everything you want
Mhm.
with AI generated vocals like at some point the audience has to play a role in supporting I mean, like you can have bands playing on a stage all night, but if no one walks through that door and pays the ticket price, something tells me that there's going to be less
Yeah,
bands playing. Same with authors,
it's
same with
true.
artists. I mean, geez, AI art, right? I mean, you think what is something that is
Yeah,
more that is more degraded by in terms of an art form than an AI art that is slowly getting to such an amazing point of view that you couldn't tell the difference. I think at this point
yeah,
we could tell, like they're the first ones. I think the axe is hitting that tree first, right? So it's like all the other artists need to be very afraid of what's coming, or at the very least very aware, because the AI art is one of those things that is completely removing the animator, completely removing the digital effects. It goes so
yeah,
far beyond just the painting, you know. But it's an interesting conversation to have. I don't want it to be too doom and gloom, but there's a lot of good side to it too. Is the positive fact that there is a desire, a deep desire in people to see the person performing. There is an appreciation inherent to every human being to see an artist express themselves and to connect with another human being on that level. That is essentially why we make art. So it is completely understandable to me that you'd want to not only inject that into your own music that you're writing and recording, but even just to go out and do that finger drumming thing, on the stage or even just on the street, which does bring me to my next question because you recently went back to Japan, which
yeah,
and can you tell me about that trip? Because I know you got some cool things coming up from that.
yeah. I mean, it really was kind of like a homecoming in a way, going back again.
Oh, I bet.
But
Yeah. Now you had lived
you
there
know,
for what, 1 year, 2 years? I can't remember how long it was.
just shy of a year. Yep,
Right.
just shy
Right.
of a
It
year.
feels so much longer, my memory back then.
Oh, yeah.
It
I
felt like you were
mean,
there forever.
I don't know. Yeah, there was just so much that happened, like, during
Hmm.
my first trip. Like, I still have the magazines that I was
Oh
beard
yeah, I
modeling
remember
in.
that. Yeah, actually, can you tell our listeners that story? I love that story.
Yeah, yeah, sure. So, I was not expecting this, but, it was okay, so it was actually I'll tie it into the music,
Sure,
in a
sure.
way, but,
Yes.
basically I had a coworker come over to my place to record some vocals on one of the tracks on the Night of Sevens album.
Hmm.
But while we were recording, we were also drinking a lot.
Mm.
Well, I mean, I was a lightweight, so I probably only had like three or something like that.
Right.
But we were having some drinks enough that the next day I was kind of hungover. And so this is just to sort of paint an image. So
Mm.
I had left my bicycle at work, which was, maybe 15 or 20 minutes walk away from my place. So
Mm-hmm.
I had to go get it. And I was just like, I don't know, pale, probably crusty eyed,
Bags under
like,
the eyes. Yeah.
exactly. And I was wearing like a white muscle shirt too. And
Mm-hmm.
anyway, so I was not looking very fresh. And so I go to grab this bike, and I jump on the bike, and I'm starting to ride home. And like one thing about Japan is that like everyone's so quiet. Like the
Mm.
dogs don't even bark. But a strange thing happened where as I was riding, I started hearing someone yelling "Sumimasen," which means "excuse me," and I'm like, "What the hell? That's weird.
Chotomate,
Someone's
chotomate.
yelling." Exactly,
Yeah.
right? Just a minute.
Yeah.
Just wait.
Yeah. Yeah.
"Sumimasen." I'm like, "What the
Sumimasen.
hell?"
Yeah.
Right? I look
That
over,
must have been so
and
shocking.
there's
Yeah.
this guy like full on like chasing after me, and I'm like, "Oh my god, there's someone chasing me!" So I'm pedaling
You're going
faster,
faster.
and right? Like, oh my god, like what is this person gonna do? And so I finally
This
was
is some
like, okay, well maybe
samurai.
I should stop because this guy is really
Mm-hmm.
determined to get me. So I stopped my bike, and the guy he like comes up to me. Sumimasen. Do you want to be a model? And I'm like, oh, what? A model? Like, cool. Like, I kind of heard about this, people being scouted and stuff. And I'm like,
Yeah.
great. Yeah. Oh, good. Do you want to be a model? Um, and I'm like, what am I modeling for? A huge magazine. And I'm like, great. Cool. What's the name of the magazine? Oname wa? Huge magazine. Like, okay, yeah, it's a big
You said
magazine,
that. Yeah.
great,
Yeah.
right? Like, what is the name of the magazine? Huge magazine. And I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yeah. All right. That's what it is. Yeah.
I'll ask later. And
Oh yeah.
here it is.
Huge
Huge
magazine.
magazine,
Yeah, there it is in all its glory.
fashion for men.
Is that the
Yeah.
magazine you were in?
Yeah, this is one of the magazines I was in. This was
Oh,
the
you'll
first
have to
one I
send me
was
some
in.
pictures so I can include them, if that's
Oh yeah,
okay. Because that's
I'll
this
send them. They
story
are
is too
really
funny.
But I mean, that was sweet. That was a turning point in my trip because then
Mm-hmm.
I was making like $200 a photo shoot.
Mm-hmm.
They'd pick me up, they'd feed me. The photo shoot
Mm-hmm.
would only really take an hour. They'd get me
Yeah,
drunk, and then they drive me home.
that's such a great
And
story.
it was a great experience. So
Yeah.
yeah, coming back to Japan this time, it was a homecoming because I had all these awesome experiences. I even tried to reach out to that photographer
Mm-hmm.
to see if maybe I could do another photo shoot or
Yeah.
I could
Yeah.
just meet up with him or whatever. But that wasn't the mission objective of the trip this
Sure.
time. The
Mm-hmm.
mission objective of this trip, I'm calling it the Remix Tokyo adventure.
Mm.
And this is my attempt at combining my favorite things, which are travel, music production, and finger drumming.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially, I have enough video content to make about 11 episodes,
Oh, excellent.
and each pretty much every day I go out on a different mission. So one day I went out and I was exploring Tokyo, trying to find unique vending machines that I could record with my field recorder and my Ableton Move finger drumming setup,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'm making those samples into full tracks. And
Right.
so while I was there, I did, I ate some grasshoppers for the
Mm.
for the vending machine one. I did a music video at my friend's sushi restaurant, rapping about sushi,
Oh, great.
which was really fun. Um, oh, just a bunch. I
Mm-hmm.
found myself at a Buddhist temple for a
Right.
couple
Yeah.
for a night.
I'm excited about that episode.
Um, Me too. I just
Yeah.
can't wait to
Mm-hmm.
dive into it because, like, how often do you get the opportunity to clip a lav mic onto a
Oh,
Buddhist
yeah.
Buddhist monk's robes, and have him like chant and pray over you and use his big gong and all of
Mm-hmm.
his cool chimes and instruments and things. Like,
Yeah. Now, is
oh,
this?
it's gonna be so
I know I've
sweet.
seen clips, little clips here and there. Is the full episodes? Is that going to be on your Space Food YouTube channel?
Yes, yeah. I think
Okay,
it's
excellent.
my YouTube channel is just Aaron Spacefood.
Aaron Spacefood. Yeah, we'll have a link to it in the description as well. So that'll be something that I encourage everyone to go to that page. He's got endless great
Please, please.
videos, and there's a lot that you can learn on that page too, which is great.
Thank you.
Yeah. So when
Yeah,
is
thank
that
you.
first episode going to drop? Do you have? I know you're pretty close, right?
Well, we'll see. You know what?
Okay.
Like especially with this first episode, I want to make sure that I'm using every opportunity in the footage that I got
Sure.
to
Yeah.
introduce as much musical content as possible. Because
Right.
this episode that we're talking about, so basically, I'm exploring Central Park of Tokyo. It's called Yoyogi Park.
Mm-hmm.
And my first encounter as I'm entering the park is with a handpan player,
Oh, cool.
and so I get these amazing samples from him, and I ended up making like two songs from those sounds
Right.
that I want to sort of integrate in, and then later in the day, as I'm walking around, I also meet a violinist, just kind of like a beginner violinist that's practicing in the park,
Mm-hmm.
and then I used a bunch of sounds and wrote lyrics, and I shot a music video where I'm singing about Yoyogi Park.
Cool. Cool.
And it's
So
kind
that
of
the whole episode is about building the song.
yes,
Cool.
exactly.
Cool.
Building the song, exploring the sounds.
Mm-hmm.
Not all of it was done on location, so there are
Right.
some time leaps where I'm, in the studio now, kind of polishing and
Sure.
refining the sounds.
Mm-hmm.
But the idea is that I'm out exploring, grabbing sounds from the Tokyo soundscape or
Mm-hmm.
Tokyo cityscape, and then I'm
Right.
kind of sculpting those into a
Mm-hmm.
unique kind of musical experience.
Cool. It's I haven't traveled a lot, and I would love to travel more, but I still want to go back to Japan, even though I haven't been to a lot of other places. It's the place I think about all the time. So I was really excited to
Yeah.
talk to you about it today. So I can't wait for those episodes. So everyone follow Aaron Spacefood on YouTube. Follow him on Instagram because he's going to be dropping these episodes, and I think it's going to be a real treat. But I did
Ah,
want to segue from that because you're a man of many faces, many talents, many hairstyles, many beard styles.
yeah, that is true.
And you also dabble in the realm of puppetry. I would like
Oh
to ask
yes,
you about the infamous Handsome Hansel.
everyone does ask. Everyone asks about Handsome Hansel. So Handsome Hansel is one of my aliases.
Hmm.
He is so he's an alien from outer space. He's very hairy. He's sort of a grumbly guy, but he's innocent. He's a child at heart because
Hmm.
he actually got banished to Earth by
It's a shame.
Commander Spacefood. Actually,
Oh my, is
um,
that a relative of yours?
yeah,
So are you still making music as Handsome Hansel?
I do. Like anytime I release something new, which isn't very often,
Hmm.
and I'll explain why in a sec. But I release it under the Handsome Hansel moniker. I
Right.
like Handsome Hansel because he's playful. If I want to do any social media, I don't have to like show my face in it. I could be a little bit silly
Yes.
with Handsome Hansel.
Hmm.
I don't have to worry about like great lighting
Hmm.
or what have you. And so
Yeah.
Handsome Hansel is just a kind of
He's
a
got,
fun persona.
and the camera loves
Um,
him.
the camera loves him. He's gorgeous. He just
Hmm.
glistens.
Iconic.
Um, Completely iconic. All the
Yeah,
music
exactly.
videos that he's been doing, like the one where he blasted off into space with the speak and spell, speak and
Yes.
math,
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
like that was just
Yeah.
an amazing
Hmm.
spectacle. He got to interview actually a lot of really huge electronic music artists one
Oh.
year at the Future Forest Music Festival, and there was a handful of artists that he
Mhm.
learned some valuable festival etiquette lessons from.
Oh,
And
yeah, that's awesome.
so he's got
Mm.
friends in high places, so you don't want to
Mhm.
mess with him fairly quick. Oh, actually, you know what? I've got a good story about Handsome Hansel. So
Oh, please tell.
when I was living in Nova Scotia, um, I was producing a lot of music at that time under the name Shapeshifting Masters of Darkness, and then also
Mhm.
doing. I started doing DJing, but I was DJing under the name Handsome Hansel. But I had the puppet with me, and
Mhm.
this festival owner contacted me, and he was like, "I want to book Handsome Hansel to play a show at the festival." And so, so of course I accept it, but then I'm like, how the hell is Hansel going to play the festival?
Right.
you know,
Yes.
as a
Yeah.
puppet, because I can't just go up there and be like, "Yo, what's up? My name's Handsome Hansel,"
Yeah.
because you know, I
Mhm.
feel like that would be weird.
Yeah.
So what I did was I got a morph suit, a black morph suit, and I tied kind of like a hook on Hansel the puppet's back,
Oh,
and
okay.
then I
Yeah.
put bracelets on his wrists so that I could put my hands through the bracelets. And so
S
then when I'm dancing, he'd be dancing, and when I'm like changing tracks and stuff like that, you could just see his little orange arms
It's
moving
hilarious.
around. But okay, so I really leaned into this concept because I'm
Mhm.
like, I'm not Handsome Hansel. Handsome Hansel, he's his own guy. Like
Yeah, oh,
I'm not,
yeah.
I'm not. So I needed something. I think I was requesting that the backlights were turned off or something so that it was
Mm.
more black there.
Sure,
And
sure.
so I walked up to the stage manager as if I was Hansel's artist manager,
Right.
and I was
Yeah, that's
making these
perfect.
requests on behalf of
Hansel
Hansel.
wants, he wants the lights down. That's
Sorry,
so
he's
perfect.
really picky with this. Like for
Oh, that's
whatever
so
reason, it just like blows out his complexion or something like
oh.
that.
And
And
the stage
anyway,
manager
I'm
had
just
no idea?
he had no idea.
Oh, that's
Like
so
he was
perfect.
just like, "Oh yeah, okay, whatever."
Oh, whatever. High maintenance.
and yeah. Anyway, so that was a joke where only I was laughing because
Oh,
there's no
man.
one else around and
That's
no
one
one
of
else
those ones
cared.
where you
But
wish you had a camera on you at the time to show,
exactly
like, behind
right.
the scenes, you're the Hansel's assistant. Yeah. Yeah, yes.
Yeah,
Winking at the audience and just be like, "Oh,
yeah,
Hansel,
yeah,
Hansel doesn't like the brown M&Ms, so I need you to go and
yeah,
take care of that for him." Yeah. Ding!
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That is still something that is occasionally something you're pursuing. The Handsome Hansel,
Totally.
and that's like a chill hop. Or what would you call that style of music?
I kind of have three personas
Mm.
per se. Like I have Shapeshifting Masters of Darkness, which is just dark, heavy dubstep, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Handsome Hansel is a little bit more playful, but can get dark as well. But it's a little bit more experimental.
Right. Right.
And then Aaron Space Food slash Curious Face
Yes.
is my work where I have vocals added. And
Mm-hmm.
so right now I'm trying to focus a little bit more on music that has vocals.
Okay.
So I've got a couple tracks sort of on the go with that, but I'm also trying to integrate the finger drumming aspect of it as well.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
It's not really dance music; it's more somber,
Sure.
kind of. Uh, I want to. I wish it could be as good as Radiohead, Tom York, The
Mm.
Eraser.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Geez,
That's
love that album.
definitely a big inspiration for me. Like, oh,
Do you have a timeline on when something like those tracks will be finished? Are you releasing an EP? What's the plan?
I really don't have a timeline with that. I'm just kind of puttering at it. My first priority right now is making all the music for the
Mm-hmm.
episodes of the Remix Tokyo
Right.
project.
Mm-hmm.
But whenever I need a break, I like to putter on these other songs.
Mm-hmm.
So it probably won't be for a while that I get more of those songs finished with my Air and Space Food sort of Curious Face project,
Mm-hmm.
unless I get a grant approval. Then it
That'll
would
change
be
things.
within the next 6 months.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But
Yeah. I just think about how long it's been since the last time you released a vocal Curious Face, Air and Space Food. It's been a little while, hasn't it? since you released? I
Been
can't
a
remember the
long
last.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's
it's
been a
so
really long time.
I'd be definitely excited to hear the next um, Aaron vocal. Well, that's you know what? That's not true. You have done some raps, which are
True.
endlessly catchy and entertaining. And when did this aspect of your artistry come out? When I know like pizza makes me happy too, but I've never thought about rapping. So
Yeah.
when is that was that the
So
first time that MC Aaron came out to address the crowd?
no,
Hmm.
I did. I've always been a huge fan of like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air sort of
Or
style.
was it the chicken?
You know what? It was even earlier than
Okay.
that.
Okay.
Before, like, a few years ago, I was producing and basically doing everything for this artist on the East Coast making kids music,
Hmm.
and I composed, produced, and rapped on a song about the life cycle of a pumpkin.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
Uh, yeah, it's called "What's Up in the Pumpkin Patch."
The pumpkin patch. Pay attention.
Come really close, cause this next pro tip really means the most.
When the sunshine's shining and the plant feels good.
Gonna stop making flowers that are turned into food.
But how can a flower grow big and round?
From a seed, then a vine, then came out of the ground.
Well, to solve this equation, you need pollination. A bee takes some pollen from the flower stamen.
It moves it around from flower to flower.
The magic ingredient for growing power. Pumpkin patch. It's autumn. Pumpkin patch. Pumpkin patch. Oh, it's autumn. What's up in the pumpkin patch?
It slapped. I just, I just loved how it turned out, and so that was kind of the first time I was actually like sort of rapping, emceeing
Hmm.
on a song, and I just loved it. It was playful. I feel like it was
Oh yeah.
compatible. Like I feel like the music that I want to make usually is quite isometric and
Hmm.
strange. Maybe it's not compatible with a larger audience. So I just thought I would try my hand at doing something that's a little bit more lighthearted and playful.
Hmm.
And yeah, so that was the
Yeah.
first time I did anything that was sort of rap
Right.
focused.
Right.
But this pizza rap thing came up because I oh yeah, I did the chicken song, which is a promo for the finger drum Genesis.
Right. So what you're saying is the chicken came before the pizza.
The chicken came before the
Yeah.
pizza. Yeah,
Yeah. Right.
problem
Yeah. It's
solved.
probably
Yeah,
this whole time we were focused on the egg when we should have been looking at the pizza. It all makes sense now.
exactly, exactly.
So
But
once you made the chicken, then you could move on. You could elevate to the pizza.
basically, I had an example of what I could do.
Hmm.
I had just got a 360 camera, so I could shoot, interesting videos with very little effort.
Hmm.
And I have to shout out Pinio and Loeb. They're a producer duo from Halifax, and their shtick is that they remix popular '80s rock songs and things into
Okay.
electronic music. I was friends with them, and I heard that they had gotten sponsored by a pizza place in Halifax, and that was the first time I had ever heard of an artist getting sponsored
Yeah.
by a restaurant. And I'm
That's
like,
awesome. That's
dude,
great.
that's awesome. Like, they
Sign
get
me
free
up.
pizza. Like, I
Yeah.
don't even know what
Yeah.
else they get, but like, hell yeah. So that sort of became a little bit of a dream. And the pizza place in town, here in Nelson, is just like the coolest pizza place. The owners are amazing. It feels like they've got sort of like a Ninja Turtles vibe
Oh,
going
sure.
on in there.
Yeah.
Sort of like, do you remember YTV?
Very 90s aesthetic.
Very 90s
Hmm.
aesthetic. And
Hmm.
one day I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna reach out and see if they would sponsor a video or sponsor a rap about pizza, because like I've always wanted to do something about pizza.
Hmm.
And I think the email started with, "Hey, how's it going? This might be one of the strangest emails you get this week or ever, but I'm wondering if
Mhm.
you'd be interested in hiring me to make a rap about your restaurant, about pizza.
Mhm.
And they responded within like 30 minutes, and they were just like so
Yes.
excited.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, right. And then,
Mhm.
at that time, I was thinking that I would be doing all the rapping,
Yeah.
but I'm like, it'd be sweet if we had some sort of like call and response
Yeah.
thing
They joined
happening.
you. Yeah.
What do you guys
So
think
that actually
of
was the
maybe like
owners in the video.
those were the owners? Yeah,
Oh, awesome. That's
exactly.
so great.
And they were so on board. They're like, hell yeah, let's do this. So they came over, we recorded vocals. Like I wrote all the words for the song. Of course I wrote all the music and all that stuff too.
Mhm.
I did all the mixing and mastering and video production, and got lots of free pizza, which was
Oh, yeah.
nice. And,
It looked good too.
when so really good pizza, and like the
That's
video and the
Thor's
song was
pizza?
Thor's Pizza. Yep.
Right. Yeah.
Hades got that heat, yeah, the spice got the pop. Capicoli, jalapeno, feel the fire, feel it drop. It's the kick in the sauce, it's the groove in the heat. When the garlic hits your tongue, yo, the taste is complete.
Poseidon's got his treat.
Yeah, it's wavy and sway. Ham and pineapple like a funk jam play. Dionysus on the cheese.
Got the funkadelic stack.
Feta palm, cheddar, matzo, bring that flavor back. From Nelson to the gods, feel the funk in the dough. Thor's Pizza got the flavor, let the good times flow. It's a groove, it's a vibe, every slice is a dream. From the first to the last, let the funk reign
From
supreme.
the crust to the sauce, every bite so tight. Thor's Pizza got the magic, feeling pure delight. It's that cheesy satisfaction, yeah, it's got you feeling whole. Every slice of little magic puts some fire in your soul. From the first to the last, every bite's a fight to keep. Thor's Pizza hits the spot, got you feeling so complete.
Yeah.
But yeah, the song and
That's
the
a great
video
video,
were
though.
it was really well received in town. Like anytime I pop into the pizza restaurant, like
Hey!
Mike the owner and Annie, they're like, just dude, like the people just love it. They're coming in, they're talking to me about it. It's like so awesome.
Oh, yeah.
So
It's like
yeah,
everything you
they're
want
just
out
like
of an
so
ad.
enthusiastic about it. Like, yeah, it just worked out so perfectly that they want to do they want to do 3 in total. So
Oh,
I've been
perfect.
thinking about, what could I do as a follow-up to this Thor's Pizza wrap? And I think I have an idea. I want to run it by you.
All right, hit me.
It's going to be a battle rap between people who like pineapple on
Oh,
their
yes.
pizza and people who don't like pineapple on their pizza.
Perfect.
Right? Because it's so
Oh, yeah.
controversial.
Yeah,
Like
that's
I
gonna
follow
get
the pizza
heated.
subreddit. It's going to be so heated. People are just going to be like,
Which side
yeah,
are you, by
maybe
the
I
way?
should wait. Pineapple all the
All
way.
the way?
Pineapple
Yeah.
all the way.
Very nice. Very nice.
You know what? I recently heard about putting honey on your pizza, especially if it's like pepperoni pizza. Put a little honey on it. I know that was what my
What?
face was doing when I heard.
I need to
It's
try
like,
it.
oh, of course,
I
because
will
like the
reserve my
salt, the
opinion,
fat,
but
the
yeah,
sugar.
sweet and salty. Yeah, that's an very interesting. Okay, got to try it. Got to try it. I will report back to
Yeah.
you. So you're currently that is available on the Instagram page. I don't know if it is up on the YouTube page.
I think it is on my YouTube channel. Yeah.
Okay,
Pretty
perfect. So you can
sure.
see it in either place. Aaron's Spacefood is the title of the page. It is your business name, your artist name. But it brings me to Spacefood mentoring, which is a part of your many endeavors that you have going on. Ultimately, what are you mentoring your students? Like,
Yeah.
what is the is it everything that you do, or is there a music theory course? Is there a production side? Where does the mentoring begin for your students?
Yeah. So it's completely tailored to my students' needs and interests.
Mhm.
So, since I have quite a background in doing recording for bands and acoustic instruments, I can give guidance on recording and mixing and mastering for a more traditional sort of rock or pop or indie band.
Right.
I can also teach production and composition for electronic music, or
Mhm.
just electronically created music that isn't necessarily EDM. So,
Right.
I teach the music theory, I teach the workflow, the psychology of, sort of suffering through the the process of learning such a sophisticated software and
Mhm.
also trying to be creative with it,
Mhm.
all the way down to the mastering portion,
Mhm.
getting your song ready for distribution.
Right.
Um, and I would say sort of an unexpected benefit of teaching Ableton Live and teaching music like this is that it just becomes sort of like a friend attractor,
Mm.
you know,
Right.
like
Yeah, sure.
I'm like I love every one of the awesome people that I've gotten to be a part of their musical process, and like
And that is that spacefood.net or .ca? I can't remember which one it is.
spacefood.ca. I
Right.
wish I owned spacefood.com, but that's an actual like space food like
Right. So spacefood.ca
company.
is where
Yeah.
anyone out there can reach out and get mentored by
Yeah.
Mr. Spacefood himself.
Thank you. And like, I know that it's weird to, just like contact a stranger that
Mhm.
you've, only heard about once on on a podcast. But I try to make it as easy as possible for someone who's trying to make that decision. So I
Mhm.
always offer a free 30-minute introduction session.
Right.
All the lessons are done on Zoom. And, so you can just like, no commitment necessary. You just sign up for a
Mhm.
30-minute free intro session and then we just have a chat. You can kind of
Mhm.
get a sense for who I am and what I can offer you. And I get an idea of what your music goals are and things like that.
Mhm.
And then if you decide that I'd be a good fit for your mentorship, then we talk about what type of bundle you want, how often you want to learn, and things
Mhm.
like that. But just try to make it breezy. Like making music should be fun.
Well, I can speak from experience. My for almost lifelong friendship with Aaron. There's no false persona there. He is actually as cool as he seems. So I would encourage everyone
Aw.
to reach out and yeah, give him if you're looking for someone to really provide you with some hands-on guidance. He is definitely the one to go to. And there's also that leads me to something else that you offer, which is you have a Patreon that
Yes.
you regularly contribute to. I unfortunately am not a member. Maybe I should be. But then maybe you can tell me what can I get for my membership on your Patreon?
My Patreon is so new that I'm not asking for any money. It's just
Hmm.
a way to stay in touch with people.
Right.
Um, it's kind of an opportunity to sort of scratch that itch where when you finished creating something, you want to get it out there right away. You just want to
Mm,
get that dopamine hit of,
right.
oh, I got 5 likes,
Oh yeah.
So,
Yeah. Totally.
without destroying a release plan,
Hmm.
I'm hoping that my Patreon account is going to be a place where I can post things in
Hmm.
advance, like early access things,
Okay.
to
Cool.
the people who are interested enough to follow me on such a sort of small,
More
not public,
intimate.
more intimate platform.
Hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. And so, of course, it's small. Like I think I have 30 followers right now.
Probably going to have some early access clips from Japan or some extra videos that you had filmed that won't be part of these episodes that you're releasing.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's going to be worth
Totally.
it.
There's already some
Um,
stuff on there.
yeah,
Yeah,
awesome.
there's already some stuff on there, like my sushi wrap. I know I
Mm,
already did a pizza wrap, but now there's a sushi wrap on
mm.
there.
Yeah, so that's something that again I encourage everyone to check out because it's another place to connect with Aaron and to see some of the cool things that he's doing. And that what is your Patreon, Aaron Space Food?
Yes, patreon.com/spacefood.
Perfect. So check that out, guys. And finally, I what is something right in front of you that you're working on that you're really excited about?
I'm working on a new book that I
Okay,
can't tell
awesome.
you anything about,
That's okay.
but I think it's gonna be very useful
Okay,
for
cool.
pianists, electronic music producers, and guitarists alike.
Okay,
So
awesome. In line with your other books, probably.
kind of. Also a music book, but
Right.
this one isn't going to be quite as tab oriented.
Right.
But
Yes. Right.
I'll let you know it's going to be kind of like music adventure book.
Oh, I love it. That sounds great. Well, I really do appreciate you coming on the show. It's
My
it's been
pleasure.
good catching up. Would have done this on my
Yeah.
own time. So this is something that I really do appreciate seeing you and hearing from you and hearing what you're up to. Everyone out there who's watched, thank you for sticking around for the whole conversation. If you could hit that like button, subscribe, it really helps. Keep the motivation alive to keep these podcasts going and to support artists and creators, as that is the intent of this podcast. So without belaboring it too long, thanks for coming along, and we'll see you next time.